Hmm. Peace and love, everybody. So before I go to bed, I might as well just check in and spend a few minutes with y'all. You know, fix this up. That should be good. All right. I was just checking this out, but right before I started this live, I was just looking at this, just browsing it, and it's kind of peace and blessings, Michael Deline. How you doing? You know, if you want, you could call me for a quick minute. We could chop it up over live. No, as a matter of fact, wait on that. Wait, let me finish this subject matter first because we're doing dreams, and then we could do that. So, anyways, I was just looking at this while I'm just, holding a quick meds right quick, and the pictures in there just kind of caught my attention. You know, it's like kind of weird these pictures that's in this. If you look, it's about dreams, and I don't know. You see, it's like it's not normal. The pictures on here is kind of different. You got the Minotaur, the Leviathan, Serpent. What's this about? You see, nothing is really hidden. You got this picture here, something like this. You got the three wise men looking up, the astrologers looking up into the skies. What do that got to do with dreams? I'm just showing off some things. You look, you look at this page. You see some type of thing right here. The Vitruvian man, look like an angel or whatever, and woman sleeping with some type of angel, demon, or whatever over her. All right. The point to this is all of these images that I'm showing you is in your subconscious mind already. You know, when I did the song like Escape, and I tell you that it's Freddie and Jason that's in your dreams and it's them that they're chasing or whatever, you will see that these is the type of things that's they have as pictures. These pictures is already in your subconscious mind. And so they know how to induce it, or when you have dreams, those is the symbols you're gonna see. But those symbols is not what we think they are. That's the whole thing to them. They're not actually, these monsters that's trying to get you. They're a part of you. And once you realize that, then the journey becomes kind of different because it's not just a journey about actually, you running from your nightmares or you facing something that you can't explain. It becomes more of a ascension. That's what your dreams actually help you guide you in your direction of ascension. So when you're talking about the different types of dreams you have people who went through different states of consciousness, different levels to their state of awareness. And each level, it depends now on your dream state. Some people is in a vigil state that's like you're sleeping but you're awake. There's some people who's half awake and half asleep, and then there's people who's awake, So with these different levels, when you dream, your dreams are interpreted in different ways because you're being guided in different ways. So the basics of dreaming, like when we don't understand what's going on, we have you could say energy. I'm gonna call it energy for now. That pushes up on your skin, pushes up on your third eye, your magnetic field. And when this energy pushes up on you, you actually project back. It becomes a hologram in your head because that's how our mind see vibrations and oscillations. We get it as a hologram when we interpret it. So now when we interpret this hologram in our head, we don't know what's the image of it because it's a new experience. So we take our parents, our friends, our loved ones, and we overlay it. We take the background of our room, we take like the cities. These is what makes up your dream. It's not now, the importance of that is to let you know it's not that you're dreaming actually what you're seeing. You're taking information and trying to interpret it the best way you can. So you're putting it into logical data. So being that that's going on, you can't take your dream a whole bunch 100% literal. You have to know the subconscious meaning of these symbols that you're seeing. So once you get the idea of what these symbols mean, then you'll be able to interpret your dream the right way. Because a lot of people, you could have a dream with your kids, you can have a dream with experiences, and these dreams sometimes it's just symbolizing something that's supposed to take place in your life. But then on another level, if you awake and you have these dreams, they will actually occur in real life, like within the next day, within the next week. These are different levels for people who's in ascension. Their dreams become more of something that's going to happen within a few days or in the future. But for the unconscious, when they dream, they're afraid to face their dreams, or they're afraid of something. It's their body trying to talk to them. And so with them, they interpret it with their aunts, cousin, uncles, and situations they're in, whether it be an artist that they love or a star that they like. All of this come into play to tell them a story about themselves, but they don't get it at first. So these now becomes the first part of dreaming. When you start awakening, you start having these kind of lucid dreams. These is more sleep paralysis based, and not just sleep paralysis. You get like a lucid state of dreaming where you half asleep, half awake. You can hear your TV or your kids, but your eyes are shut. You're half asleep. That's a different state of actually now dreaming, because that have your consciousness awake, but your body is still in a state of paralysis where you can't move. And when you're in that state, this is where you actually now being able to be like an astral projector, a person that does remote viewing. It's actually a person under meditation when you're in that state. So when you're in those states, you tap into what's called the universal consciousness of the world. It's like a one mind world. And so once you're able to tap into the universal conscious mind, what do you perceive Christ to be? Cymatic creator, that's a great question. Christ actually, it's all, you could say it's the energy, but he's not like what we say, this energy, how we look at it. It's actually a form. There's a form to it that actually it works when you're in. Look at yourself as physical first, and then after you're physical, you become astral, and with astral you have ethereal, and with ethereal there is other also now a higher level, which becomes just pure mind. And so, all right, you're still just this one body, but now, with you having these different parts to you, you're able to see yourself and perceive yourself upon different levels. This is all perception now. So, when you actually die as an energy source or leave this first physical body, the gross matter, you go into the astral form. This astral form is another world, as you heard, what we call the astral world, the astral light. It's a zone. It's a zone within, you could say, a hemisphere. Look at the Earth itself. The Earth is a solid object, but as when you're leaving it, it has atmospheres, lithosphere, ionosphere. You see it as like a color band that turns darker and lighter as you go out into space. Well, look at those are subtle frequencies. That's where your gross body cannot inhibit as a world. But in your astral body, as this energy now, but it's not an energy, it's the same body, but on a very subtle level, exist in those worlds, and actually this air becomes access to you, like if you was in a subatomic world that is full, way fuller than this world, because it's so big. So the smaller is where you're gonna get more appearance, more environment, more different dimensions. So now, with that in mind, as you go into the astral or the astral body first, and you become exposed to the astral world, the astral world is just the same hemispheres as you're going up. Let's say it's 10 levels to that hemisphere, with the first floor being the floor of desire, where you go through the moon to actually experience the astral world. You know, they call it the invitation to your soul, or the initiation. You go into the moon. That's where everything take place at. So in the moon, the first level is the good night, Sandra. How you doing? Or good morning to you, or evening. I know you're on a different timeline over there in Guam. So these different levels now is actually the first state of purification. It's like you're going up through filtered rocks or water. So as you go up now and you get into the first level of the astral, you're gonna meet yourself in a way, but you're not gonna know it's yourself. And this first level is the floor of desire, where all your desires that you have, all your desires and plans you have, everything has to be like taken out of you, neutralized. It's like you're being decompressed of certain thoughts, certain energy. What's going on, Zigzagzilla? Yes, Michael Deline, I'm available tomorrow afternoon. Um, it's 16. What spiritual practices should I do to evolve? Cymatic Creator, at 16 right now, all you do is practice your breathing, practice your eating habit, because we're so bombarded by GMO food, especially now because they see us activating. So it's like a war on us through food. It's the most important part for people in the North, people in the United States. It seems like they trying to contain it as much as they can. I went through it. I'm not in the north right now. I'm in the south, so I could explain it to you because I'm outside that was in. So what's going on is it's a biochemistry reaction going on inside of us, or we're having this activation through the um, electrons in the air and everything. So you get the chemtrail spray in one to block off protons and then electrons from swapping out. We're mutating. So with that, we're able to be more spiritual. We're more one with energy. So now you have a psychosomatic system in your body that once it cleanse itself, purify itself, and that's through eating natural food, organic food. It actually cleanse out everything and take out the blockages out your body. You actually start connecting like fiber optic cable to a higher sense of reality, a higher consciousness, a higher intuition, and that's what the war is about. Yes, Christ Star. So it's very important for, especially if you're starting off now, to start a war upon trying to eat right, because the way the food is being offered to you is the same food that looks the same, tastes the same, smell the same, but the biochemistry that's made, how it's made, is actually different. You understand? And that's what they doing. They trying to get us actually from the biological sense, because it is a kundalini activation, which will take you into your ascension, which will take you out of this sphere of what you're in and into higher spheres. But they need us here to keep this sphere going. So what they do, they keep you in this constant reincarnation through bad food, bad beliefs, bad social cultures, bad relationships. Everything is just designed perfectly for you to be caught in it. It's your greatest desires. And once your desire is there, look at your desire as like a hairpin target, and you put it on something, and a missile come and hit it. The missile is your soul. So wherever your desire is, your soul is behind it. You understand? So if they control your desire, they control your soul. You understand? If you want control of your soul, release yourself from desires, and then you could use your soul to will. Then you be the magician. You could do real magic. Now, the Eden, I say, is the first line of defense for the young at heart. Being that you say you're 16 and you want to start your spiritual practice. So when you start eating right, you actually will make yourself more sensitive to energies by you clearing out all the toxicity out your bodies and out your pores and out your nadis from your chakras. You actually be more sensitive to energies. So once you're sensitive to energies, you'll be able to have a heightened awareness, heightened intuition coming in because the forces are beating on us now. So that would be the first start. And with actually now that you have to practice discipline, and because for it to actually pop off, you got to realize you don't know yourself. And with you not knowing yourself, you're going to actually be more overzealous when things start happening, and then be egotistical at first or be just happy for yourself. So you're not going to be able to grasp the energy and contain it because it's power. And with it being power, it's like somebody come and put a gun on you or pull a gun in the room and you're in the room. You can't panic and run. You gotta hold that energy and have yourself together. By you doing that, you contain your energies within yourself and it works for you. So those is where you're gonna have to start through discipline. Actually, will help you balance out the energies because if you eating GMO food, you're gonna have low energy because you got to realize anything that we get that's in process, like say it's in a bag, in a box, sitting on a shelf, it literally is kind of dead, or its potency for your nutritional value is very low. So when you eat something, if it's not actually a live enzyme that is going in your body and going through your pores, your nadis, your bloodstream, and actually activating your you have a cerebral pump. You could say this cerebral pump really runs up and down your spine into your cerebral cortex. You have a cerebral pump in your head. You have cerebral pump at all the soft spots in your body. So underneath your armpits, behind your knees. These is the actual things that push lymph. Lymph is spirit. It pushes like this. You understand? It makes the blood keep spiraling through your veins. That's why it spirals. Just don't spiral for no reason. So you have a pump that actually makes a magnetic energy that pushes everything. So it's good to for you have to have your system cleared up for you to be able to have your stuff pumping correctly. So by you knowing you have a cerebral pump and you have it works with your spine and actually make your kundalini and your energies go up and down in the form and your blood circulate, which is spreading the lymph out, which is spirit. You actually get your health, not just your health in order, your organs in the right magnetic field, everything spiraling at the right frequency. It'll be equivalent as a tone on a keyboard. Every tone have a color. That's why we follow circadian rhythm, and you get a different bandwidth of the color as we go through the clocks of the day. So with that, each organ is tuned to a certain pitchfork sound, and so if it, back in the days, they used to be able to take sound and actually tap on your different organs and hear how the frequency of it to know if it's healthy or not healthy. And so with that, you have to make sure that your body is not blocked up so that everything is vibrating at its right vibratory frequency. And with that in mind, you at your right frequency now, you be able to tune in when your time comes. These times is for an average person at 16, you're saying you are and you're eating right, you're gonna first get a counter reaction to what's going on because we not been eating right, and so we've been blocked. When I first started learning this, as I left and started being in foreign places, as I ate foods that was more natural, I started feeling kind of strange. My head was feeling light. Then after a while, I started seeing things, spirits. I started seeing all types of different things. Things that like when I'm in the United States and I eat the food there, it blocks it. I don't see all that stuff. But like when I'm not there and I eat just organic, natural food, I notice everything start changing. So it was very important for us to realize, and the toothpaste with fluoride too, it does the same thing. It blocks your senses. So I stopped the fluoride eating using fluoride because it's not the actual eating of it, it's the fume. Just opening it and going like that do the same thing. It's poison. So it's a gaseous poison that you inhale. So it's hidden under the peppermint smell. Where they both work together, from Dr. Sebi teaching us that mint actually is an acid that freezes your brain. And so when you put peppermint and you put fluoride together, those are both two gases that you have to inhale, and it does something to your brain. It freezes your brain. It calcifies your pineal gland. So it wouldn't be in your best interest to even have it around your kids or open or anywhere. If you want a great example of seeing how, take a big bowl and squeeze a whole thing of toothpaste in, maybe one or two, and close your bathroom and leave it in there for about an hour and come back in. It will burn your eyes. It will burn. That's how much fumes is mutant. So imagine you just taking that daily. You're killing your own spirits. You're killing your connection to the higher forces. So you're better off trying to make your own toothpaste. I would recommend in today's society, make your own is more important than trying to buy another corporation's organic brand, because they could have protocols to make sure Kundalini activation chemicals is put in there, or just FDC or FCC rules, whatever you call FDA rules, can make it that it could be still foul play in organic stuff that will stop your own Kundalini activation. So anything you're gonna make or use, try to make it yourself. YouTube is full of make videos and do DIY, whatever you call it, do it yourself. So it's more a time of that we're in, because you're activated now. It's not a game. It's not a pre-save. It's not something for the future. As you can see, a lot of kids is having autism now from these shots that have mercury in it, and mercury don't react in one body the same as it does in another body. Our bodies all operate different. There's no two person that share the same type of body, because of the vibratory frequency they're on, that makes your body your form. So everybody's individual, but in groups we still share traits that have us. Mercury is a poison in just about all human beings. So you got to realize that this system is designed to hold you down as a servant to them, where you would need them if it's not just for information, for health reasons, because of the food that they're giving us. And the fact that you at one time was in a different place, the North was never a place for human beings. It was only inhabited by the dinosaurs, the giants. This is in ancient times. And then later on, it was wilderness. Wilderness that during migrations, the mixed breeds, what was called mestizos, wind up taking those lands because they was outcast from regular society. So you got to realize the baddest of the bad is in the United States, but they became the most highly evolved and spiritual because of the fact that how it was created. But in your own genetics of who you are, and you're going back to your root genetics, you come from a certain designated indigenous place that was not from the North Wilderness, and you will have to seek out natural food that meets the genetic requirements of what your body is supposed to need to sustain itself. And I could summarize it as all continents that is indigenous have the same food. It's just that we are not eating that. We're eating genetically modified foods, or we're eating food provided to us in supermarkets and bags and processes that actually put more chemicals in it, and steroids in it, and hormones in it, that actually work against our body. You know what I'm saying? Is your egg real organic, or is it from a chicken that's been pumped up with hormones, so the egg is no good anyway? So you have to think about these things when you're actually trying to get yourself at full activation. It's not on fair grounds. You're not being treated fair. It's not equal. You will have to first awaken to a lot of things that you was programmed to just do instinctively. And once you start not doing them instinctively and questioning them, reading ingredients, what is this? What is that? Do natural God food come with ingredients? Anything God made don't come with ingredients. So anything with ingredients is suspect. Understand that. Seasoning being the number one suspect thing, because they know y'all don't eat the food as it is. You have to season it. Some type of little bottle, Lawry's, this and that. What is those things in the seasoning? They're not actually an onion, a scallion, a garlic, or any of those things. What is that? Cancer, toxicity, chemicals that just taste good. look at food dye, food coloring. Every soda that is for the kids, they're just drinking straight food coloring. It's poisonous. It's cancerous. But yet we look at the color and see how cute and pretty it is, and we give the poison to our kids, not realizing it's the coloring that's killing them, not the taste, not the sugar. It's the coloring, just like it's the seasoning that kills you in the food. You better off eating unseasoned food or season your food with what is called real seasoning: onion, garlic, green peppers, real things. Not no stuff you buy in a bottle and shake, because you don't know what your government is doing against you. You can't trust, not from your mother to your brother. You can't trust nobody like that when it comes to your internal God self, what you're putting in your body, unless you verify what it is yourself. So on that note, you have to research what you've been eating, what you've been taught was good, what you think breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that concept is about. Because you look at it, it's an unconscious act. Are you really hungry 3 times a day, and are you programmed to just do it? You got to look at it like that's more of a program than actually scientifically eating correct. Because by the time you eat breakfast, rule number one, if you do choose to eat breakfast, you're going to be chasing that breakfast for the rest of the day. You're going to be hungry and weak for the rest of the day. If you don't eat breakfast, you're going to usually last longer because there's no chasing of no food. It's the first meal that you eat in the morning that make you hungry throughout the day, have a funny day. Skip breakfast and you will see you have a better day as far as your strength, your energy level. Start your day off with the lunch part or whatever, and you will see that that makes the biggest difference. But once you eat early in the morning, that breakfast is going to start breaking down by 12 o'clock, and that you're going to feel a sense of hunger because it's breaking down, not because you're hungry. And so we interpret it as hunger, but it's actually being processed in your body. And so instead of us allowing the process to go through, we go by lunch and add on and shut down the processing. And so your belly start bulging out, and it becomes a lot of toxicity inside your body. You get gas. So now when the second food is going to digest, which is by 6 o'clock, you actually interpret it as dinner time, that I'm hungry again. And so instead of it actually breaking down the food, is start actually now, no, instead of it distributing the food out in its proper places, you start eating and it start breaking down again. You change up what the system is supposed to be doing. So you're only getting breakdown going on, or I mean distribution of your foods when you're going to sleep. That's not how it's supposed to be. A food breaks down like after 4 6 hours in your body, start being distributed to its point. The difference is, if you're drinking something like, say you took some carrots and you blended it yourself and drunk that, that gets distributed instantly through your body to all your cells. Where the dead foods such as rice, chicken, these things is not alive, and your cells is alive. It's like they're gonna counter clash. It's not gonna do nothing. Eventually your cells gonna run out of energy from eating dead food. The food that you feel good about and you feel full, so you think you feel strong, but your cells didn't get no nutrients because they don't eat that. You understand what I'm saying? But so what your cells eat is living enzymes, live stuff, your juices, your smoothies. Those put nutrients back into your cells. That give you unlimited energy. So you would want to do that so you can always stay activated. Your DNA could always make its connections, and your RNA will respond. I wanted to say, because I said RNA, look into RNA technology, um, food technology. Right now, they're actually making food that is through genetics and messes with certain people's genetics. Just food that will mess with actually any race they want, any type of people. I'm gonna see if I could pull it up. I think it's called reverse RNA genetics. Reverse RNA technology. One second. I just wanted to see if I could show you all this. Let's see. 1 minute. It's called RNA interference, right? RNA interference is a biological process in which RNA molecules inhibit gene expressions or translations by neutralizing target mRNA molecules. Historically, RNAi was known by other names, including co-suppression, post-transcriptional gene splicing, and quailing. So look this up. This will help you on that journey. If you want to see what they're doing to the food nowadays, it's called RNA technology. This now they actually could target specific races, specific type of people, and the food will do any different things to them. And it's a big write up on it. A lot of people been messing with it. So it actually inhibits people. So you don't think those type of technologies here is here? You know what I'm saying? And they actually use it on specific races of people. It's been going on for a while. So, with that in mind now, you have to actually take your time and go research your food, research what's going on. You can't just think this is something that they don't know what is wrong with us, and they don't know we are higher beings and we have abilities and we have powers, but we can't tap into it. That's why you think they make these superhero movies and you see all these mutant things. It's because it's real. That's who you really are in your true self. But as long as you're being suppressed and you're in the government system, you're eating their government food and you're being educated by their system, you can't tap into it because, it's actually what's the cause of our disassociation from our spirituality. Your spirituality reside in your instincts. You're already an angel. You came here as a dark angel, and that's what you're going back as, regardless if you want to learn it or not. Some people have to be actually waterboard. You could waterboard people to make them have memories or do post memory regression, and they remember all that stuff. So don't think it's not real. It's 100% real. You know, what we is at now. Now, you welcome Zigzagzilla. I live in Germany, but I'm originally Ethiopian. That's what's up. Germany and Ethiopia, they actually are colonizers. Y'all is colonizers. Unfortunately, the Ethiopian race was the actual people that they used to father the American race. You know what I'm saying? They use the it's a mixed gene. If you know history, they went around from Portuguese to the Portuguese, the Spain, and the English. They colonized all of Africa. So when they got to Ethiopia, they said, "Hold on, this is the gene they need," and they took that gene, and that's when they started bringing only the people that they brought to America through the Caribbean, that West African Caribbean Corporation stuff. And they were actually was doing like a island of Dr. Meru with the people of Ethiopia, bringing them first to the islands and then mating them with the actual Europeans, and then remixing them with the West African, and those became our slaves. What we first called them. Oh, okay, I'm back. What do you eat? What do I eat, Sandra? Um, I eat everything really. Let me see. My diet it changes seasonal. It's like, all right. Let me tell you something, and maybe we can get someplace with this. When I first started on the eating mission, and like say when I used to follow like Dr. Sabi and following those and learning about alkaline and the acidic foods and all that stuff, that's good. That's fine, and that's real. But now, when you learn it on a higher level and you get to the higher level of it, it's like, what do you really know about what your body needs? And how do you know what you're giving your body is what your body desire at that time for what it needs to heal? Look at it similar like Some people might eat chalk. Some people might eat dirt. Some people might suck on a rock because they needed that sodium, that calcium, or whatever the case may be, and they didn't know that. All right. So keeping that in mind, we learned that actually by disciplining your mind and abstaining from food, whatever your body you desire to eat is what your body want at that time and it's what it needs. So life for us is like you love life. So when you have a desire for life, you don't have a desire for food. The first rule from sun staring is to it gets rid of craving. If you have craving, if you have desires for food, if you think in food, if you're always eating, you need to go sun stare for a while. Sun staring will take away craving, meaning you won't remember to eat at all. All you know is you have to eat because you're gonna lose too much weight or you're gonna pass out because you have energy. But as long as you thinking food and you're worried about eating and when you're gonna cook for dinner and all that, you still gotta overcome crave. You understand? So now, as higher beings, we don't have those craves. So we just remember to eat. Usually, our hunger time will be late in the night, late, because we forgot to eat the whole day through. And like, oh my God, I'm hungry now, I'm weak. So, in that now, when I say how you eat and which will be the proper way now, if you discipline yourself and you don't follow it, you'll do a regular regimen. Like for me, I eat once a day, and so when I eat once a day, I try to make it a good amount of meal or whatever because it's gonna last me for 24 hours till that same time the next day, and for that's all I need. As long as I ate, I have my substance. My energy don't come from me what I ate. My energy come from my inner self, my mind. I put whatever my mind I put it to. I'm not gonna stray from it till it's done. It's like tunnel vision, and so when I eat, I don't eat for energy. I just eat to sustain myself. And so that's how you should look at it in life so that you're able to be having the option because we all live in different countries and different foods is available and some is not available to you. So by you actually not involving yourself in gluttony and eating with respect to your body and time, you could actually just about eat anything. You understand? But now in America, we have a system that we're taught to eat 3 times a day. That's wrong. In America, we're taught to buy supermarket stuff, not go to farmers market. That's wrong. So it's like it's different for them. They have to go through a different process for everybody else because they have to detoxify because we're eating so much processed food, so much bleached rice and flour and all these bleached things that is actually plastic and soy and all these things. So for us, it's a purification, and with that now, yeah, you have to eat something a diet that neutralizes that. So in neutralizing the diet, we have to eat more like the herbs and the minerals. Those will not put back in what all those things is taken out. So as long as I would say the basic would be the teas, because teas is the trickiest thing in the world. Because if you ever read, like say ginger, if I tell you to go get ginger, you're gonna go to the supermarket and you're not gonna find ginger in the produce section. You could go see the Chinese man, you probably ain't gonna find no ginger. But if I tell you go get ginger tea, you go to any supermarket, you find ginger tea. Now it's the same thing. The health benefits of ginger, regardless if it's a tea or a real ginger, is the same. You're gonna get the same iron, calcium, nutrient. It got all of that in it. So you're just giving yourself that straight up, like if you're oiling your car. These things will take hunger out of you, keep your energy up, and balance out your whole system. So you would have your cinnamon. Cinnamon promotes circulation of your blood, circulation of all your joints. So you would drink cinnamon tea, knowing that you're feeding or oiling your system. You would drink the ginger tea, which help with inflammation or anything. You keep your body in balance instead of just I don't know what you're saying. Eat vegan. Vegan what? What seasoning are you putting on it? It still has to be checked. You have to. It doesn't matter what I tell you to eat. I could tell you to eat. You know, potatoes, yams, this, that. It's starch, it's sugar. You're just eating sugar. Meat, same thing. It's acid. It turns to sugar when it comes in within your mouth. It's glucose. So you have to understand, it's not a bad thing eating GMO all the way. It's how you balance out your diet. If you're gonna eat GMO, balance out with a little bit of organic too. You can't just eat bad. You can't just eat starch. You know, we're alkaline based. You can eat alkaline all day if you can maintain like a salad, the greens, the cabbages, the callalus, all those, the cucumbers, everything that's on the alkaline list is more of a plus to help you balance out your body. Everything on the acidic list is more gonna make you poofy and you're gonna start having diseases because it infests the body. So you would try to do alkaline. You would fast once a week. You understand? When you fast once a week, you discipline yourself not to have craves. You know it's nothing happened. You cannot eat the whole 7 days of the week. Uh, that's not. No, you cannot eat no whole 7 days of the week. You got to take a day off so your body could reset, that your body could break everything down. Chill out. Do that, man. Practice that. If that's not the hardest thing to do in the world, then you got a task ahead of you, given to you by Lord Enki. You must fast 1 day of the week. All right, that helps your body reset. It breaks down what you've been putting in it. If you eat all the time, look at it like your body is a bunch of workers. As long as you eat and you're putting the workers to work, you have to give them a time off. Send them on vacation for a little while. Like you want a day off on Saturdays and Sundays, and you want a vacation once a year. You got to do the same thing for your organs. You can't just work them, work them, work them, work them. I hope this makes sense. So clean your mind and body, and you won't even have food cravings. That's right. Zigzagzilla actually do some sun staring. If you go read that article that I always tell everybody, NASA speaks on sun staring, give you superhuman powers. You will see it actually do that. In the article, it tell you about craving that after maybe 2 to 3 weeks of sun staring, you won't have craving no more, and it tells you that. And then it tells you start giving you higher perceptions. So I'm pointing you to the sun to control your eating habits, any type of habits you have. The sun will take it out of you. Um, Sonomix puts aborted baby fetus food to taste better, and that can do a number on the body of natural chemistry. Yes, Zigzagzilla, everybody nowadays, what the corporation is doing. They want all the sales, so they actually put in more of your fetuses and your physical bodies and foods now. That's what's in seasoning. That's why you love seasoning so much. You only could love what's in you. They have to put a little piece of you in something for you to like it. You get it? That's what's going on. So anything that you like, you're only liking what's inside of you, and so that's how they do it. So they have to definitely keep it going by putting it on whatever we like in it. Maybe that's why we're keeping the abduction going and the murdering and the killing, because we eat all that stuff. We eat ourselves. Do you know about Anu? Yeah. What do you want to know about Anu, somatic creator? Do you believe in one most high God? Yes, I do believe in the one most high. Definitely. I came here. He's the one who sent me here. And I'm doing his teachings. You know what I'm saying? His teachings is very high and different in the cult. So if you want to learn these things, you would have to actually take the journey into yourself to see what it's like, but I could guide you on it. But it's definitely about the Most High. You understand, and it goes for both sides, the occult, the good, the bad, because he encompasses everything. There's no side to nothing. Everything is one and the same. All right. Congratulations with your music release. They are both really good. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you. Those is something. That's really a journey that I did a year ago. That whole legend thing. And I said they've been sitting around. It's time for me to release them because we're doing new stuff now. I got the studio equipment. I'm not really no artist, you know. This is what I do. I teach. But I was teaching them how to rap, and those that came out of the studio. So instead of it sitting around, because the messages in there is real, it was a part of something I was going through when I was going through the tarot. It's like one time I was the hangman, next I was the emperor, next I was the magician, next I played each position. Sometimes when you go into this, let me give you a talk real quick. When you get snatched up by God, y'all don't understand, and I gotta say it in this context because there was no God then. I didn't believe in none of that stuff. I thought I had powers. I had energy. I had consciousness. I thought I was raw, and I was in the actual underworld. This is now, imagine a human being that could see it. This is what they tell me. You'll be able in the future project holograms of what's in your mind out your eyes to let people see it, and you can get a reptilian slit in your eye. And I'm like, really? And so this was a journey where when I go into meditation, you people close their eyes. I open my eyes and I do my whole meditation and see everything. And it first start off as a little obtuse little box like a hologram, and over time it just grow into a big screen that is not, you could say 2K. I passed 2K about a year and a half ago, and it went to 4K, and now it's like it's 10K clear. When I say this screen that just encompassed me and I go in a world that's 10K, it's like you took this reality, then you cloned it in a computer and made it perfect, like a perfect animation of this world. That's what the 10K is like. It'll just mess you up when you're in there. It's scary to me because it's too perfect. But it's like it comes and encompasses me, and I'm in like a dark space, and that's that space alone. And I travel through tubes that look like genetic tubes, and sometimes I'll be a ball of light rolling through like a bowling ball, but it looked more like a pinball with lights coming out. And from there, I fall into like a pool of mandala symbols, and from there I see the tree of life in hands, and from there it just takes me into dark space, and I fly for a while to Cyrus, where it's just an orb blinking someplace. It's just steady blinking, and I just have to focus and go for a long ride. In it, you pass in mad different worlds, a whole bunch of images of collages from the past. You see from people walking around. It's like you're in the Akashic records of everything. And as you in there, you have a destination, which is Cyrus. It'll be like a little orb, but you still have a whole bunch of offset things going on in your peripheral that if you was to take your attention off of Cyrus, that would draw your attention and you fly someplace else automatically to what that you're looking at. And how it works in there, these images now, which is like holograms over hologram, ghost images like smoke. Once you look at one and stare at it, the image start coming alive. It stands out first. It becomes like highlighted. And once it becomes highlighted, it starts moving on its own. And so as it moves in a motion that eventually your third eye follow it. Or it follows it in a motion that it seems like it's real now. But like, and when you first learn it, you can't follow the motion. It actually looked more like a still image that only moves and pivot because its motion is in a circle like a clock. And for you to actually read it, you have to know how to make your eyes like it's a dilation. It's a system. It's not something that is just as simple as you think. So once you're able to see in these worlds, you could portal to a time port or a place, the 1940s. Say you're seeing people picking cotton or something. You could go to that. You could see them. You could see what color stuff they have. You could smell the air. You could stand there and listen to their conversation. It's like all of those things is available to you right there at your disposal once you're able to connect on those levels. So it's not something that you're just gonna have and you just see it in one way, but it has many perceptions to it. But this is the journey into it. That's my journey that I took, and I'm telling you, that's why I bring it to you as a new experience or an experience that we all supposed to have that is inside of us. So once I started taking these journeys and going across, and I got to Cyrus, you see different beings from what we consider to be aliens, reptilians. That's a part of your macabre. I've learned over time, thinking that like I'm in Mars, I'm on this place, I'm in that place, that it was all me. It was me all along, and I'm inside my body. And I started learning about the Temple of Man, the Temple of Karnak, why they worship the body, why the um, Van Gogh drew the body so perfect. Why all the medieval people made the buses. You start understanding there's more to this than just what we believe as far as religion, alien, everything. We're being dumbed down to not know who we are. What are we? What is the body? What's in it? You understand? Hold on. All right. You said you don't know. You seen the name Anu in the dream? Okay, Anu. You know Anu. Anu. It has a lot of meaning. Like An is actually a name for the sun, and we'll know that first. And that's actually in Egyptian. You know, the first was An, and you know Anu would have been the heaven, the father. You know, they said Anu is the father of Ra, and Atu is the wife of Anu, and they made Ra. Now, when you look at it from that story, that's from the esoteric version of it. But there's, an exoteric version of it, and there's an esoteric version of it. The esoteric version of it now, An or Anu, the sun will be your mind, the universal mind. And you know, An is actually gave birth to Ra, which is our sun. So you would say Anu is the universal mind, the sun, which we equate to what we call Jesus, you know, is actually now that sphere. So you can't take the story literally of Anu and these beings if you don't know biophysiology. It's about biophysiology of yourself. So all the gods is about biophysiology. So once you learn biophysiology and you learn quantum physics, you'll understand the term. So Anu that you're talking about, Anu's heaven. They call it heaven, which is the ethereal part of your skull. If it actually is important for you to know the truth, but if you just take the term and Google it, Anu will be the father of Ra, and Anu actually is the term that is Egyptian for heaven. But in its actual term, it do mean sun. It's the sun. You understand? And that would equate to the universal consciousness. Um, it's so many because we look at it the same as Solomon. It's like an anthropomorphic word. Sol, you know, is actually the Greek word for sun. On is the Sanskrit word for sun, and Mon is actually the I think it's Sumerian name for the sun. So you got sun, sun, sun. Same thing as Samsung. Sam is the Greek or no, what is it? Sam. That's one of them. And SON. It just says sun, sun. All of them is sun, 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 sun. So you get the hang of it after a while once you start studying the origin of these words. So you know that's what Anu really means. Now, have you ever met an angel? Yes, I met lots and lots of angels, man. Let me tell you, there's many angels in this game, and it's like every sheaf is governed by angels. And I met Michael. Michael was one of the first angels I've met. You know, he came to my aid, him and Gabriel. And for me, one Michael was he you know everybody have a form in the matrix that accord to their own perception. It doesn't mean it's universal because I see it this way, you're gonna see it this way, because you have your own unique vibratory identification code and your own memories, your own thoughts. Jesus is gonna give you your perception of what you're gonna see because of your past experience. So with me, he come to me something like Ryu from Street Fighter will be how his face would look. You know, it's like a Eastern type look, no beard, clean face. And angels always come down and they land on one knee. One thing when he come, It's lightning fast, and he drops to one knee. Then he gets up and walks right to you. Same thing. Gabriel is a man with an afro. It's a black man with an afro. That's Gabriel for me, in my thing. Similar to Afro Thunder from one of them games. That's how he would look. And I have Sariel is inside of him. I seen, but aside from these archangels, they're the governors. When it's out of control, you only see them like if you was to see an angel, it'll be after the dude pulls the trigger and the bullets start flying through the air. They'll come down and land and chain everything before the bullet comes to you. That's how fast and how they work. It's not like something when he's holding a gun at you, they're gonna come. They don't come there. It comes when the action is in play. They one who just makes shit just missed you and it's switched up. Something just happened. So that's how they work. They're the last second shit. And they actually control the forces and they prevent things from happening. But they overseeing everything you're doing. Everything is being overseen by them because they keep a track of your thoughts, everything. So now inside of there you have sub levels with other beings that run as what we call dukes and princes. Princes, look at them as the man on the throne. You see it in Egypt as this mimic from the astral world. They're mimicking the astral world because on every level of the astral there's a king and a queen to keep that sphere together. That's how it always works. And so you have plenty of twin flames here that is actually in the spiritual kings and queens that own is actually the one that keep the sphere of love together. Something like Jesus and Mary Magdalene, Simon and Helen. It's like you always have a relationship, even though they don't have to be physically together. They're the ones that is the keepers of that sphere that we're in. And so you have just from that dimension is a whole world within itself. Within the king and queen's world, you have Set and all the beings that play out in each frequency. You're talking about bandwidth of color that has something to do with what we call the elemental spirits or the spirits that run the tree spirits, the water spirits. They are connected to them. They're the one that bring you and your parts of yourself into those worlds and bring you back. So if you go consciously, you see it. But remember, these now is a part of what we call your makeup, your chemistry of what you're made of. You're made of the four elements: earth, air, fire, water. So you're made of these elemental spirits. And so parts of you transfer back and forth with your consciousness being infinite and a whole of light. It could go back and forth with them too. So you actually get to learn about your other selves. This is what make you ascended master, ascended higher being, when you could see yourself as the water, journey to different places where you're water yourself, seeing treasures and wrecked boats and you know whatever you want to see down there, what you are designated to see. All of those is what you're going to experience. Some people actually are demons and they're only going to see stuff like from the Lovecraft period and the primordial period where they came into existence. Some people are angels, so they're only going to see angelic things and go back maybe to the beginning from the throne, seeing the beast and all these other things. Some people came along just during the Sumerian period, during the it's different period that spirits was awoken. The first spirit is still here from the last, but remember you keep having experiences to improve your spirit, so you put to sleep, put here and learn, and then your spirit evolve from it. So a lot of people awaken during different epochs and times of their own self, and that's who they truly are inside. So you got people that when they pass, whatever they did and whatever they are spiritually, they go back to that dimension, to those elemental worlds where they actually inhibit that. And eventually they'll relive again until they make it up to the higher worlds, all the way back to the high. And so one of the first levels is the dragon level because you have a magnetic field on your body. Your magnetic field now is actually what we call the dragon. He is the magnetic field. The dragon itself is what keeps colors from touching each other. You ever notice you see a rainbow separated colors? Well, there's a magnetic field. It's a bandwidth between each color. that makes it look like a nice rainbow. Well, that's called a dragon that separates everything. But it's inside the most thinnest bandwidth, you could say is more than 10 microunits, is a whole world, unlimited. Remember, when you throw so many cell phone signals into the air, it's riding on a magnetic field that identifies and gives and tags every individual ones and two. Every bit has its own unique identification in the air and is in a magnetic field. So how does it do that? How come you don't jumble up information between radio, TV, airport, everything is in the air and it picks up and receives very easily. Well, it's something that keep all of this integrity into this order that's in the magnetic field. And these is the elemental spirits, just like you see in computers, Intel chips. Well, those is not just, what do you think, conductors? They could find better conductors than Intel chips. It's what's inside the chips. It's intelligence. It's alive. It's real. And those is what it was the fastest working spirits or whatever. And so you get to learn that these things that we think is inanimate, they're animate, they're alive, they're actually working. But nobody's gonna acknowledge these things. They want to see it the way they want to see it, so that that can make life more easy for them. So I'm just telling you, you're in everything. You don't consciously feel it, but you could tap in through consciousness and see it, feel it, experience it. And I think that's what the Aquarian age, this new time we're in, is giving everybody ability to tap into and do now. So I just wanted to put you on so that if y'all, don't think these things exist, they do. Everybody has these abilities because you're going within yourself. With the journey, I tell you, it's not outside. I'm flying through space. It's inside my body. It's all of us have the same inner body. We all come from one. So once you go in, your astral and my astral is the same astral because we're in one big Merkaba, but they have sub Merkabas in it. You understand? That's why healing, Reiki work together. That you encompass this one sphere, this one aura, and you can actually heal them, send them healing energy, no matter where they at in the world. And that's where we're headed at for the future. People is going to be doing more long distance healing, more natural work. That's why we are in trying to learn this new system and get the right foods and get our magnetic fields right so that we could do Reiki healing and all this stuff that we was already doing prior to our going into darkness. So this is the awakening again. Everybody's starting to awaken to who they truly was. Um, I'll be a rapper when I'm older. Were the ancient Egyptians black, and did the Ethiopians have something to do with them? Were the yeah, the Ethiopians is the parents of the Egyptians. Yeah. So if the Ethiopians is not black, so the Egyptians ain't black. That's simple. By the time you got to look at migration, if the only thing is gonna be black is the first part of it. After you do migration, you get what's called mutation. After that, nobody else is black. You could look at people and judge their skin color, but no mutation from you changing. Just look at this. Just you being in the United States, if you wasn't from the United States, you genetically mutated already. You don't even know what you were supposed to eat, so you don't know what you would have been or what you truly are. It's the same thing when you have first group of people that was here and then they started migrating to different places where the genetics change, and that's the mutation that make people either go lower down in consciousness and become lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter till you become white. It's all done through mutation and migration. It's to call the law of heredity, so by the time we get to Ethiopia, that's already a mixed race. You can see from their hair and how they look. That's a mixed race, easy. They come from between the Berbers and the Islam people. All of them is the same because that's after we leave West Africa with the Pygmies, Bushmen, the original people. And once they started moving, they started becoming taller and lighter, where you get these people called the Kafars, aka like the Zulu nation, the Hottentotten. You have these different tribes now that started coming up. These tribes look just almost like how European in features, height, stature, and that's the change. It was evolved from short little pygmy people to tall stature people. Then when you get up to what was called the Hottentotten and the Trustians, you got straight um, pale albinos, and this is the start of when they go to Europe. You get your European. Everybody come from the same black. If you check genetics, everything is pygmy. So your whitest race is really black. There's no other race on the planet except for black. But you looking at the color of a skin, you will say this is Mongolian, this is Chinese, this is French. Those is made up terms. You have to know the beginning of where it started, like how science is doing now through genetic research, through the mitochondria DNA. We all share that same one. That's the truth. You understand what I'm saying? So, on that note, the Egyptians is not black. The Egyptians is a mixed race. The Ethiopians is a mixed race. Everybody else is a mixed race prior to West Africans, the people of Mali, the people like the Olmecs. Those is original races. The big broad nosed people. Those people died off before um, Europeans came out of the cave a long time ago because they was fighting between themselves and the Berbers. Remember, you had Berbers. You had a group of people that came up from the Caucasus Mountain a long time ago called the Almaluks. Look up the Almaluks. They lived around the Nile and they wound up mixing with the West African to cause the Berber peoples and the Arab people to come into existence, the Malay people, the Chinese, the Mongolian, the Indo-Aryan. All these races is actually made after the first group of people, and this is all from these group of people called the Almaluks and these other pre-races remixing back. This is what history says. You know, you follow Frobenius. Go read a book by Frobenius. All his books is from ancient history to the Ice Age, and it breaks down, and it's all true. You know, the difference between blue-eyed and blonde hair people, and just regular Caucasian with just regular colored eyes and regular hair, is one was bred in North Europe, and other one was bred in South Europe. The one in South Europe was still in Ice Age. They became the aristocrats, the nobility called the Saxons, because they were still under Ice Age. That's how come they remain and look so pale and have blue eyes. Well, the other ones who don't have blue eyes, they was mixing with what's called the Indo-Eurasian, the Asiatic, the Nubians, and the blacks of Africa. That part was connected to Asia and Africa. So that's why they're not pure like how the ones that were still under the ice that maintained and came out last. It was only half of Europe was under the ice. That part that the nobility come from. That's why they came long after and sacked Rome. The Saxons sacked Rome. A little bunch of herdmen, but they was the ones who came from the last of the ice age who had heart and did it. So that's their story. So when we talking about Egypt, Egypt show you too. If Egypt was original black race, why would they have a picture of a black, a yellow, and like a real light yellow? Why would they have that if that wouldn't exist if there was a black race? They wouldn't know about those other three. So obviously, if they know about that, then that's showing you they know it's three type of people here, and they're not the black ones. The Nubians will be closer. The Ethiopians will be even closer, and neither the Ethiopians or the Nubians is pure black either. Those is mixed races. When you're talking the original races, you're looking back in Libya, Niger. When you talking Niger and all that, look for the N words in Africa. You see that's where Syria, Batu people. Those is the first, and then they wind up moving west. Once they started moving west, they mutated. It's the same people. Everybody's the same people, just a mutation. All right. Now, it's hard to hold on to yourself when you're having those journeys and you are in deep meditation. Yeah, zigzagzilla. It's you can't hold on to yourself. That's one thing. In those meditations, you have to let yourself go. That's what it is. It's transformation. That you don't serve you no more. And so if you hold on, you're gonna come to a lot of energy blockage. You're gonna have a lot of pain, a lot of headaches. Allow yourself to just go through a process, because every stage of yourself that you unlock, it lets out a old you. If you ever could see it, it would be like you're going through a light tunnel that is closed, and you're opening up as you go through. But once you go through, say it was a light tunnel, it drops. It's dead now, and you just have energy coming from the whole thing. So that don't serve you no more. It wouldn't be a characteristics or a form to it no more. It's gone. So actually get used to actually not holding on to things. How can someone eliminate evil thoughts? Somatic creator, the way to eliminate evil thoughts is by allowing that side of you to live, to actually be who it is. You see, we all got evil thoughts. Don't let nobody fool you. You can't control your thoughts, and we all in a universal thought mind. So the same thoughts this person have too. We tune our thoughts according to our survival and our necessity. Those is what control what you think at the moment. So maybe this person ain't gonna have these thoughts at the moment because that's not what they're at. Some people's mother, some people's teachers, everybody thoughts depends upon their lifestyle. So now if you having these evil thoughts or whatever the case may be, that's not you. That's a part of your system. And you have to recognize that person, that thought, that image. And so how you do it is allow it. Just, let it come and let it flow. Don't entertain it. Don't stick on to it. Just allow it to be. When you do that, you letting it out of you. If you suppress it, you hold on to it, you ponder on it, it stays inside you. You become that thing, and then it become a hidden covert you. But if you allow it to just happen, it could leave and it's leaving you. And once it leave you, don't come back. It's like you ever try to, you had a good thought, and then somebody say, yo, come here and do this and this. Then you try to go back to your thought. You can't remember it for nothing in the world because it was leaving. You understand? So you don't get those back. But it comes out in your macabre and spread out. Nothing can't leave you because you're in an invisible egg. And this invisible egg, as big as you may seem, just like the universe may seem, it's micro small. It's not big because you're not big. This is all in our minds. It's a big mind fuck that you will never understand. But it's all in our minds. We don't have no holes in our heads to see what's outside past images from the beginning. And we put this together to create what we think we're seeing outside of what our body is showing us. Because our body only pick up sensations, electrical impulses, vibrations, and stuff like that, and make it into holographic images in your mind. And you don't need a brain to see. You know what I'm saying? Your brain picks up its own image. All right. So on that note, now, so that's how you will eliminate evil thoughts. And I would add on to this elimination of evil thoughts by saying, by you actually learning to stop looking outside at the external world, it'll help you because obviously you can't. You're not evil. Nobody's human is evil. Only thing could be evil is an action, like when you do something that was evil. But if you was to stand still, you can do evil. You shut up, you can do evil. You have to open your mouth and say something. You have to do something to cause evil. So evil is like a verb. It's like an action. So you're looking outside of yourself. You see action all around you, and you measure yourself with it, and it give you evil thoughts. Stop looking outside yourself. You understand what I'm saying? There's nothing out there. You can't measure yourself with the Joneses or what somebody else is doing because you came here on your own timeline. And so if you measure yourself, you're going to be always feeling insignificant to the rest of the world or everybody else. So just keep yourself to yourself. And your time is on your time, not nobody else. I thought Anu was father of Enki in the mythology. Oh, this, yeah, it is. Yeah, that's Anu too. But I'm talking in the story of Ra. When I was telling you the story, I wasn't thinking about Anu from the Sumerian mythology. But yes, it's the same story. But you got to realize the Sumerian one is the same Egyptian one too. They're the same names. Everybody got the same name. Look at Thoth. You see Thoth. His name is Ningazida. and Sumerian. When you look at Thoth and you look at the name of the pyramids, Ningazita is Gaza. You know what I'm saying? And the name of the pyramid is Gaza Pyramid. So how you get in Egypt a Sumerian name, Gaza, which is Ningazita. So you get to see it's the same thing. Everything is the same. They just switch it around. So Anu is the same people, and it's the same storyline. All of it is you know, I don't want to confuse y'all. It could get confusing, but you know, I would just show you. Look, let me show you. I'm gonna get it real quick, just for you. I'm gonna show you real quick. Look, wait, it's kind of hard because we've been taught wrong so much. It's like unweaving everything. I have to do it in parts, but everything is not real as far as when they say Egyptology tell us that it's Egyptian writing and this is what it means in Egyptian and this is what it means in Hebrew and this is what it means in Sumerian. That's a lie. That's everything that's written is written in one language, Hebrew or old Hebrew language, and they actually took it and told you it's Egyptian. They took it and tell you it's Sumerian. They took it and tell you it's Mexican. They took it and tell you it's Spanish. But it's one language. And to from everything from Egypt to Spanish people in Mexico is the same story. And it's a Hebrew story. Their history, their language, their words is all Hebrew. Believe it or not. Everything you're seeing in Egypt is Hebrew, and it's come from from one group of people, and that's Sumerians, because that's the actual oldest story, the reptilian thing going on, and so they have the real knowledge. But the one that you see in Egypt, they put that there to cover black greatness so that it won't be told, because they're not telling a story about the stars. They're telling you about ascension, kundalini, your nadis, how to activate. You got black people teaching yoga, but we don't see it as yoga. Nobody ever notices about yoga and actually kundalini activation and the exercises. They don't want you to know what they're doing. Those images, those hieroglyphs is actually for a group of people. Then they stare at it. It will bring back their subconscious memory and they'll know how to open worlds inside of worlds. There's a great guy that can help you. His name is Athenas Kircher. He's a Jesuit priest. He's the first person that went into the pyramids and read what the hieroglyphs said. And what he said it was about portals, other worlds, and astral projecting. And he went on to be called the smartest man in the world, wrote many books, and was the head of the Egyptologist Society for years because he's no, but they one that said he was crazy, his translations was wrong, and you follow this man right now. He wrote the greatest books. He even got this book, but it's all in German and all these other languages. So if you look in them, it's the whole Egypt shit unveiled, but it's in a different language. He tell you what ISIS is. He got pictures of every hieroglyph, but he's telling you it's underworld in the earth. So one of the books is called Mundo Subterraneus. You could look it up by Thanos Kutcher. If you even studied any of his PDF, you see it's far fetched. That's the other world. It's just about the parallel world with the weirdest pictures of entities and all type of beings. So that's the world that actually exists. They keeping this a secret from everybody, putting it as UFOs, putting it as these other things, but they're not telling the truth. It's also called the Curse of King Tut. Now, in reference to what you're talking about, it's so funny. I was reading this Egyptian civilization and Sumerian and its Sumerian origin. See it right there at the top. It tell you this by Waddell L.A. Waddell. He's an old like a esquire for the queen that wrote for her, went around the world and checked everything back in the ancient days. And this is what he wrote about actually Egypt in reference to Samaria. He was saying that that's a lie. You understand? Because he know how to read it. So this is what he says. He said a shield for the solar title of the pharaoh on the Sargon's tomb inscription at Abydos in the Sumerian meaning. That's what this is about. At the outs of it's noteworthy that the king's of solar title is enclosed within a sign consisting of an upright panel frame with three vertical back in its top register, compared with two in the queen's inscription, and summoned by the sun hawk, while his solar title occupies its lower register. The solar title of Pharaoh is called by, by Egyptologists the Horus name, from Horus or Haru, the title of the sun and of the sun hawk. So you see, that's the name of the sun. And this is an ancient book. This is not a new book. Everybody know that's the sun. He says from here, where it says the title, and you see it right underneath. He says is the Horus over here. You see Horus? Horus, let me point to it. Horus is the name of the sun. Those is the name of the sun. But you think Horus is a being. Just like I'm telling you, Horus is never no being. They lied to us and we believe these mythologies, man. But we just don't know what was going on back then. These are people who was back then studying this, and they tell you it's just the name of the sun. And so let me finish. He says the Horus name from Horus or Haru, the title of the sun hawk, which presumably derived from the Sumerian Hu or Ha, name for the hawk, and this Horus title is given the first place of all the plural titles used by subsequent pharaohs, each of whom claimed to be son of the sun. Now you see, we thinking son of God, son of nothing. It says it right there, and I'm gonna make it big for you. Look what it says: son of the sun. This is what the pharaohs write. They never said they was son of God. They never said they was son of some being. They knew that it was the sun, like I'm telling you when I said the sun is your father, the straight sun. I don't mean a sun someplace else. There's a hidden thing. No, the sun right there. That's your father. Get it right. This is Egyptian pharaohs were thinking. If they was all here, y'all think they're crazy too? All of them said that they're the sun, and that's what he's trying to tell you. What gives you life? Take the sun away, you're dead. We got it fucked up. We don't even know who our parent is. The only thing that sustains you right in your face, and you overlook it like it's a ball of fire. It's not that. It's very alive. All the rays of it is alive, very alive, and you'll learn it once you get into the higher levels. So it is significant that already Sargon had adopted this heretical side shield-like enclosed device for framing his solar title, and it was evidently the molded copy by the latter pharaohs for this purpose, with the alteration that the vertical bars was regulated to the lower register, thus giving more prominence to the solar title. The vertical bars have suggested to some Egyptologists that the design, which they call Serika, Serekh, represented a banner with fringes, became in the later forms the bottom bars have sometimes trees and ends, but their early positions are erected bars above is against the way. Much probable it seemed to me that to suggest that the figure represented the hieroglyph of a temple, for this seemed confirmed by the fact that the sign resembles the upper portion of the Samaritan pictograph of the temple sign, which has the value of bar or bara, Bara, which designate him as the Para or Parra or Pharaoh, Pharo, an Egyptian inscription of the first dynasty, as we shall see, and is also in the Indus seal in its developed form in the stele of the fourth king of the first dynasty. It is figured realistically as a temple of place. This temple of place sign, or in the upper portion of that sign, is placed within the sign, the square sign, which in Samaria have the value of rin, and meaning primarily ring, ring, and secondly enclosure, dwelling place, and it has the Semitic value of Saru, Saru, which thus presumably the source of the letter Egyptian name Sereka, Sirak, and have accordingly translated it as the house of the Pharaoh. So what I'm trying to get at is that we've been deceived with everything. Like they took the Sumerian, and then it's also the same Egyptian stuff. They just switched the words around, and it's a word play on everything. And so we don't know the truth, what is going on. We want to agree with the lies, and for everybody to agree with them with the lies. Nobody really want to hear the real truth, and it would seem so far-fetched because our slave master or the master gave us these lies, and we want to only believe the lies. We don't want to believe the truth no more. And somebody come with the truth, you say, no, this cannot be true. Our boss told us that this, and we believe that. The internet is a lie. If you live off of the internet, look, I'm gonna show you. Look at this right here. This shows you everything. On this side, it shows you the Sumerian equivalent and then the Egyptian equivalent. The Sumerian outdates the Egyptian one, and it's the same thing. We'll start from the first one. I'm gonna go through it for you. This is the Sumerian hand, which came first, and this is the Egyptian letter for A or hand. You see it over here? This is the Sumerian version, and then they redid it again for you as Egyptian. They gave you this in Samaria, then they give you this in Egypt. They're the same thing. Look, they give you this in Samaria for AKH, which meant eagle strength, and look at it over here, Akar. See the same Akar and Akar? How silly we gonna be before we catch on to these silly kids stuff that they're playing with us, man? It's the same shit. Look at them one by one. They're the same thing. Look for star, the name for star, and look for the name for star over here. Same thing, man. They playing games with us, and we think it's separate. We think it's original, and that's what's going on. So if you can't read in between the lines and make sense out of what's going on, it's going to be hard for you to perceive and weave your reality out of the matrix, out of the sun. I mean, out of this side of the sun. You have to go through the sun to get to the other side. So, in reference to Anu and the Egyptian version of it, and Enki and Enlil, it's not how you think. These is not like you and me. This didn't happen yesterday. This happened a long time ago before bodies had formed. And so it's an energy, a state of consciousness. If we take it literal, we're going to get lost in this, and we're going to believe whatever they tell us, and we're going to promote it. Like in your head, you really believe Anu existed, and you create them as a thought form for them and make them real. That was never real. And then we were not supposed to take them as something real. So I just want you to understand that why I don't have a great story about a great story about Enki in such a way that it's like a physical buddy thing. Nah, that's fake. I would be lying and putting that into reality that ain't real. You understand? I know from studying it what it is, and I could break it down for you, and it has a significance in your life. But it's not like how Zachariah Stitchian put it. And this same guy that we're reading, if you don't believe me, you could Google right now, L.A. Waddle, Waddle. You see his name? And Sumerian tablets, and he got his own translator. This guy translated just about every type of book. He was a linguist, and he translated the Sumerian tablets, and it says something totally different from what Zachariah Stitching said. He tells you the truth. And the Zachariah Stitchian is a government agent, and everything is telling you is to make us all dumb down and believing that we believe ourselves as these things, and that they was like us, physical with flesh, and don't understand it. And so we believe that we have spaceships that we have to fly around, and because you're thinking you're a physical, that thing was a physical thing like you, and so it needs a car, and so it needs a spaceship too, because it's physical. No, these is higher beings that's bodiless, man. Thought forms that exist that said they're never gonna inhabit a gross body. And so they're here's energy. They're here working and they're invisible. But to say they're in Saturn and Saturn is inside of you, it's not outside of you, then you don't get what's going on. And so that means that they're flying in a car that just like us too. It gets kind of silly when you think about it. Aliens, advanced things. Why would they need something to fly in? I don't get that. So they just as dumb as we are. Think about it. Everybody's trying to send out a body. Don't you think they could have sent out a body? Do you think they're gonna get a car, a boat, or a flying car, a flying what do you call it, a UFO because it's flying? It's just still a flying car. You think they need a flying car, really? Really? Come on, family. Let's be for real. That's why I don't want to ask them alien questions because it's been disproved already. You know where they fucked me up? When back in the 70s and in the 60s, these alien spacecraft was these big ass flying discs like this watch flying around. You watch them joints, they old and it's this. And now you see aliens and shit, they light streaks now. You see them as these little light streaks coming through like this thing right here. You see that? That'll be it. So what happened to this? How we went from this UFO space saucer to these little things right here? It look like they following us in technology, man. I don't get it. Look, it's a bunch of bullcrap to keep us from the truth. Be careful. Yes, peace and blessing, Latoya. Damn, I thought Ethiopians were black. Nah, you want to see? Let me give y'all some information on that stuff. Let's run through it. Last few minutes of this. You know, I'm gonna do a video after this with my all my little research work because I got a bunch of research information that I keep, and it'll help to make sense out of a lot of people's understanding. I'm a researcher like crazy, so don't think anything I tell you I can't prove. And I like to act like I'm stupid, but I'm not. You know, I could prove anything I'm saying. Like for instance, you know, we talk about. I told you everybody's mixed. This will show you what's mestizos. If you ever want to look up these words, mestizos is the type of mix when you take a European and a I want to read this one because they got different one. This one is what we get Mexicans from, which is a mix of a European with an Indian, original Indian. But I'm just gonna flip through these. If you want to stop and Google, you'll see it. And I think some of them I circled myself. Let me make it so you can see the words. I don't want it to be out of focus. You can see the word yet? Oh, this is not a clear one anyway. But anyway, this one here was where I got underlined what it says. It tell you the three races that makes up what's called a mestizo or whatever. It's not a bad thing because I'm a mix. I'm a hybrid. I'm a mestizo. We all mix nowadays. If you don't understand this, you don't understand who you are, and you're in denial. So it says a mestizo is a French Indian, Portuguese Indian, or Dutch Indian. This is where it come from. And this was made up in the 1500s. So let me go through. I don't want to just show stuff that is gonna make it look like it's a racist thing. But you know, it's bugged out. There's the term Tresakun and Kun and all these. These is real words. Like if you was to actually look up where you get this word from, look at this. Like this one, quadroon. You see this word quadroon? All right. Now you know what it says. A person who is one quarter black by descent. These is real words. You see down here, that's what it says. And this is not racist. I was just studying all this for ancestors. So I'm putting you on that there's actually these things that exist. You know, if you're not happy within yourself, you got a problem anyway. You need to find happiness. Now you have what's called a tresacroon. You ever seen one of these? These is actual words. It says offspring of a white and a mulatto in 1776 from Spanish. That's where you get the number tres. All right, let's go into the real shit now. All right, now this is an inter. This is part is called intermixture of certain races. You see, when you mix certain races, this is actually from the New England Medical Journal right here. I'm reading from you from, and this is called the what happened. This is like in the 1600s when they started finding out. He says now. When a monogenesis is called upon to demonstrate that all human intermixture are eugenic, the first example which he originally cites is that of the mulattoes in America, the issue of the union of European colonists and African Negroes. This example, which has for a long time been considered as decisive, might not be without a reply, for there exist races differing much more than that of the races of Western or coast of Africa. But the question here is whether it is quite true that all American mulattoes are eugenic. So they want to know, could that's this line, I'm gonna point to it just to show you over here, right? If all mulattoes, American mulattoes are eugenic, that means that they saying that you can't make kids. Eugenic is saying American mulattoes can't make kids. So if that's the case, they've been on some type of sterility problem will existed already because they got it here. Like they'll be surprised if they can make kids. So you got to understand today when you hear it's a sterility problem or we have a fertility problem, they've been knew this. Don't let them try to play you because the medical journal says it right here. They don't even think we were supposed to be able to make kids. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. If you ain't paying attention to the details what's going on here, you ain't noticing that we all been on the island of Dr. Meru and we're being experimented on and being used for a giant experiment. Hold on now, what this says. Oh, you're gonna get some good information right now. Yo, you gotta hear this one. Listen to this because this talk about Ethiopian, brother. Listen about this one. Here you go. This is funny. He says, "We meet first." Now, this is all right. I'm father. Let me put you onto this story so you get where you're going with, where we're coming from. This is after the Europeans had now colonized Africa, and they like the two groups of people. This was the Iberians and the Ethiopians. They considered their well, Iberia was a desolate land, and the Iberians is Americans. Everybody who's in Iberia that came there, it was actually a sovereign place, and only Americans could go to Iberia. So whoever was in Iberia was an original American. Now, aside from that, the Ethiopians they saw in favor, and so they stopped for a quick minute and was studying their genetics. So this is what they write. When we meet first with the fact, namely, that the union of Negro with a white woman is frequently sterile. You hear that? I'm going to read it again. We meet first that with the fact, namely, that the union of a Negro with a white woman is frequently sterile, whilst that of a white man with a Negress is perfectly fecundity. So you see, this is what they're telling us. This might tend to establish between these two races a species of hybrid analogous that exists between goats and sheep, which we have termed un, unilaterally hybrid, unilateral, unilateral hybrid. He says Professor Series, fully alive to the gravity of this fact, has given the following explanation. One of the characters of the Ethiopian race consists in the length of the penis compared with that of a Caucasian race. This dimension coincides with the length of the uterine canal of the Ethiopian female, and both have their cause in the form of the pelvis in the Negro race. There result from this physical disposition that the union of Caucasian man with an Ethiopian woman is easy without any inconvenience for the latter. The case is different in the union of an Ethiopian with a Caucasian woman who suffers in the act. The neck of the uterus is pressed against the sacrum, so that the act of reproduction is not merely painful but frequently non-productive. So you get to see that actually they was going around researching it all the way down to the Ethiopian man penis, what it does inside the white woman, much less what the white man's penis does inside the white woman. This is actually in the New England Medical Journal. This, let me just end it off. He said this explanation, though has not has he said though based upon an anatomical character perfectly correct, it is far from being satisfactory, but we have quoted here to show that one of the two most eminent monogenicists of our epoch have admitted as a perfectly unethical. Well, I only caught that page and don't even go on because these is like I said my notes that I wind up I screenshot certain pages, but you see what was going on and you see how they're mixing it up with the Ethiopians because that's they consider them a good mix. They liked it them, but you see they didn't want them to have sex, I guess, with their people, so they wrote this. It could be psychological. I'm not saying that it has to be true. There's any truth to it because we all know every woman likes it big and you know, rough. You know how it is. So that's what it is. I just wanted to let y'all understand, what I'm telling you about Ethiopia, how they have us as mixed. We are mixed. There ain't no such thing as that. Okay? It's bugged out. I love it though. I could teach on the mixed thing. I've been studying it from the Bushmen to the Pygmies. I love all these people, man. If you track them, you'll get to see the diversity of what we are. You know, um, as far as I could keep going into this and let you want to hear more. My father has the same skin tone as you, but you right. Ethiopians have different hair. Exactly, I know, because they're mixed. And what is the book guy's name? What is the book guy's name? What book you talking about? But why, where the pharaohs depicted dark? I get you point though. But why were yeah? All right. Let me explain why the pharaohs was depicted dark. The pharaohs is depicted dark because those are preserved from before those people came there. Everybody is worshiping the actual dark skinned people that once existed that don't exist no more. And so when you see them with the statues of these dark guys with the big noses, they didn't exist at the time in Egypt. They was not there. They just worshiping them, just like how the Mayan calendar is from Olmec, but the Mayan preserve it. It's not something created in the Mayan period because nobody in Mayan knew how to read the calendar. You understand? They just preserved the calendar. So you got to understand those. If you see the Negro big nose people, if you read, like I said, go into Frobenius, they died off. They was dead before the Mongoloids came. Negroes was already off the earth because that's what Europeans came looking for. Negroes. They didn't come looking for what we call negritos or what we see in society today. They was looking for a specific trait of people. They never found them because they had died already. So I want you to understand that we're all different hybrids. We come from tribes of people that was colonized. They actually look up colonizing and look up eugenics if you want to get an idea of what I'm talking about took place on the whole earth. Now I got more parts to this. Um, you see, you got to look at these words too. The name of this one, you see, it says eugensic and hybridity. You got to look into this. Eugensic is meaning to get rid of certain blood and certain DNA, and to hybrid it means to make it mutate, to mutate it. Everybody was mutated on this planet. If you want, let me see if this has a specific place. Okay, here go the Maledukes. Listen to this story. Okay, he says, let me turn it this way. 1 second. The Ottomans are nearly. Oh, here go too. It's gonna tell you that the Islamic people and the Ottomans are hybrids too, or they're not true one race. So he says the Ottoman are nearly in the same condition, and it is observed that they only preserve themselves from the same fate by marrying indigenous females. All right, so I'm picking up the story from actually, they're telling you that only way you can migrate from, say, Alaska to Florida. If the Eskimo come to Florida, she's gonna die eventually from leaving her genetic location. But if she have kids, her kids, about 3 generations, is gonna be sterile. That's what the world was trying to figure out. When Europeans left the Caucasus Mountain and started exploring the world, they was dying. They was getting sick, and they couldn't figure out why. And so for them not to die, they had to send convoys. That's why if you ever notice, it's always a wagon trail coming. It's always backup and shipment. This was more women to keep their genetics going. So once they started realizing that nature itself, you can't take something from someplace and put it someplace else, they actually said, we're going to find a way to beat that system. And so how they did it, they had to mix with the indigenous people or whatever land they inhabit just for their own survival. So this is where the story picks up off, so you get it. So he says the Ottomans are nearly in the same condition, and it is observed that they are that they only preserve themselves from the same fate by marrying indigenous females. What the Malmaduks have always disdained. So you got these people called the Malmaduks. You want to look, Google them right now while I'm talking. It's Mamelukes. These is the people that came from the Caucasus Mountain that resided around the Nile that changed the Nubians to a different race of people, which is the Arabs and the Berbers. They created the Berbers, these Mamelukes. Okay, so you could read. It said the wives of the Mamelukes were like their slaves imported from Georgia, Mongolia. You see, they didn't have the indigenous people. They had to import people to them to actually have sex so that they could actually stay living. So it says the wives of the Mamelukes were like their slaves, imported from Georgia and Mongolia, etc. It like it now be explained why well-formed men married to healthy women cannot naturalize on the border of the Nile, a bloody form at the foot of the Caucasus. We are at the same time reminded that European plants equally refuse to perpetuate their species in that locality. So they say that there's no plants that they bring from the Caucasus that will actually grow in those locations. So let me read it again so you get it. It says, "Let it now be explained why well-formed men married to healthy women cannot naturalize on the borders of the Nile at blood formed at the foot of the Caucasus. We are at the same time reminded that European plants equally refuse to perpetuate species in that locality. Despite the precision and numerous concubines from the indigenous population, it is difficult to believe that it cannot have been otherwise, and the Gladion had already to say that if the offsprings of the two races has been prolific, they would inevitably have been produced in Egypt a mixed race. But the fact revealed by Volney, which is perfect and authentic, still maintains its force, namely that the Mamelukes, by the simple fact of change of country, had lost the power of engendering with the women of their own race, a prolific posterity. Hence, nothing proves that the sterility of their offspring depended on the influence of hybridity, but rather on the influence of climate. Right there, that's what it says. It's on the bottom line. It's on the influence of climate, not because they're hybrid. And you see this word, hybridity, yeah, we're hybrids. Once we're not from the root stock, which we're not no more, you have to be comfortable with that. So you know what they're testing to see if you're hybrid, so your food might be hybrid and you might balance out. Okay. Let me see now. So you know climate do play a purpose, and being taken from your genetic location, like Dr. Sabi said, is important too. So I said, it is not our purpose successfully to remove all particular intermixes produced in human races or to determine the degree of the fecundity of the hybrid resulting from it. To demonstrate that eugenics hybrid recall exists, one instance is sufficient, provided it be conclusive, and to find that this example we need not travel beyond our country. The population of France, as we have amply established elsewhere, is descended from several varying distinct races and present everywhere the character of mixed races. So I'm going to read that to you slow so you could get this again. The population of France, as we have amply established elsewhere, is descended from several very distinct races. So France is not a natural one race. It's come from several races and present everywhere the character of a mixed race. So the France is the same people as the Mexicans. That's what this is telling you. The pure representative of this primitive race from a very, very small majority. Nevertheless, this hybrid nation, so far from decaying in accordance with the theory of Montgomery, far from presenting a decreasing fecundity according to the same other authors with their group. So it's like the hybrid didn't happen to everybody. Certain people beat it, like the people on the islands in the Caribbean. They're a mixture, but they beat it. They was able to make kids. But all over the world, wherever they was doing these eugenic programs at, a lot of people became sterile. There was a backfire 3 generations. So it was like watching Dr. Meru. So the French actually was created in South America. Then they actually migrated to France, right in between, I guess, well, that would be Spain and the Portugals, and they was wondering how are they able to survive past 3 generations. They thought they was gonna die out, but it seems like somehow France established itself and kept the fecundity rate going and was able to make kids and do everything. So I just wanted you to understand these things because we don't know it in today's time that these are real, that they exist, and so just if you didn't know what the word fecundity means, I got it right there. I Googled it myself. Fecundity. It says the ability to produce an abundance of offspring or new growth, fertility, the ability to produce many. You understand? So that's what they mean when they say fecundity. People can't make babies. Okay, so mm, let me see. Let me see where we're at. Is the in the gym listening to you. Peace. Got you. Thank you. That's what it is. You drop knowledge. Thank you, brothers. Definitely. Do you know about the Essenes? Oh, come on, somatic creator. That's. I love the Essenes. I'm an Essenes myself, man. So I know everything about the Essene. All the inner taker. I did my Essene training. So when you ask me, do I know the Essene? I am an Essene. So anything you need to know, ask, brother. Trust me, I know. Ethiopians also speak a Semitic language similar to Hebrew. It's that word Semitic. Semitic is one language. You know what it means? When you're saying Semitic, you're talking about a language that was only consonants. It didn't have no vowels in it. That's why it's called Semitic. Any language that don't have no vowel in it, that's what it means, Semitic. So don't let them trick you. There was only one language on the planet, and it's called Semitic. And once they came, they invented vowels, and then we don't have Semitic language no more. We have a language with vowels in it. The vowels itself is what's called a misnomer. Vowels, when you add vowels to Semitic language, it makes the language a misnomer language. It's not a real language. I can't. I'm gonna give. It's called an abjar. Google Abjar. That's called a fake language. Let me see if I could Google it for you. A abjar. You know what's an abjar? Abja. Is it abjad or abjad? Okay, it's Abjad. Google that. You see it right here? Abjad. Let me put you onto this now, since you want to get into the Semitics of it now. See the abjad? That's why I say this. I think it's gonna be able to swing me. An abjad is a type of writing where each symbol or glyph stands for a consonant. Do you hear that? I'm going to say it again. An abjad is a type of writing system where each symbol or glyph stands for a consonant, leaving the reader to supply the appropriate vowel. So-called impure abjabs do represent vowels, either with optional dialectrics or a limited number of distinct vowel groups. So you have what's called impure abjabs. Impure abjabs have vowels in them. Our language is an impure abjad because it has vowels in it. Why is it called impure? Because it has vowels in it. Because when you added the consonant, when it's just an abjad, there's a matching symbol, like in your subconscious, that is connected to everyone, like the letters of the Hebrew, how it forms those different shapes of things. So those is called abjabs because they actually are symbols inside your body. So when you talk, when you make them, when you see them, it's an energy you live in, it's alive. But then when you have false abjabs, what happened is you're taking vowels. Now you're going to translate it to a new language. And in the translation, you get to pick what you want the vowels to mean. So it has no meaning because there's no symbol to that's in us or was created for vowels. So vowels could mean anything the translators say. So this is where we've been tricked by this whole system with this English because it's a false abjad and the creator of it actually twisted up the original consonant with what it meant and keeping its integrity and made up something that is not real. And so we live under a false language that's called a false abjad or impure abjad, if you want to know what that, if you understand. So when he says, so it goes, so-called impure abjads do represent vowels. But then when we started it, it says an abjad is a type of writer system where each symbol or glyph stands for a consonant, leaving the reader to supply the appropriate vowel. So you see, the reader applied the appropriate vowel, but it was not in there. Now, if you go into the study on it, what is going on with, if we was to read up on abjabs, it's a whole write-up about how other languages was created. And that's what I'm going to just do for you real quick before we bounce up out of here. I'm going to take you into the real truth of abjab so you get an understanding of the deception here and why I'm here to try to tell y'all the truth and set you straight. An abjad, pronounced, however, or is a type of writing system where each symbol or glyph stands for a consonant, leaving the reader to supply the appropriate vowel. So-called impure abjabs do represent vowels, either with optional dialectrics, a limited number of distinct vowel glyphs, or both. The name abjad is based on the old Arabic alphabet first four letters, A, B, J, A, D, JD, to replace the common term consonantary or consonant alphabet to refer to the family of script called West Semitic. You see now where your Semitic word come up? Back like I said, West Africa, Abjad is West Semitic. It came from West Africa. All right. So, at, if you look at etymology, which has come next, I'm doing the etymology of it now. It says the name Abjad is derived from pronouncing the first letter of the old alphabet order in Arabic. The order in Arabic letters using to match the older Hebrew, Phoenician, and Semitic alphabets. So you see how I tell you everything is one language, but they switch it around. Well, that's how they're doing it with these abjabs and they impure abjabs that they give us. He says the first abjab to gain widespread usage was Phoenician abjab. So you see, we come from the Phoenician language. Our Phoenician language is in the alphabets. Unlike other contemporary scripts such as cuneiform and Egyptian hieroglyphs, the Phoenician script consists of only a few dozen symbols. This made the script easy to learn, and seafaring Phoenician merchants took the script throughout the known world. So our language was like an easy language, the English language that they broke off of the Phoenician language. The Phoenician abjad was a radically simplification of the phonetic writing since hieroglyphs required the writer to pick a hieroglyph starting with the same sound that the writer wanted to write in order to write phonetically. which much as Manyaga used to solely for phonic use was used to represent Japanese phonetically before the invention of kana. Phoenicians gave rise to a number of new writing systems, including the Greek alphabets and Aramaic, a widely used abjad. So you see, the same Phoenician one language, it became the Greek language, and it also became the same language that Jesus wrote in or was spoken in, which is Aramaic, was both used. The Greek alphabet evolved into the modern Western alphabet, such as Latin and Creole, where Aramaic became the ancestors of many modern Abjabs and of Asia. So you see how we get one language from this Phoenician language, and I mean a whole bunch of language from one language with the Phoenician language. Well, it's the same way I'm telling you. So we get a whole bunch of cultures from this one Hebrew culture. Okay, so now let's talk about impure Abjabs. Impure abjabs have characters from some vowels, optional vowel dialectrics, or both. The term pure abjab refers to scripts entirely lacking in vowel indicators. You have to realize that when we put vowels in, it's the trick. No matter how you vowel, hey, you, they come with a game that when you have an integrity of something, everything aligned, you got every cells aligned to something. They come with 7 new cells that don't align to nothing, and then they tell you align to something, but it don't align to nothing. So you jump out of it and you just fall out the window because it don't align to nothing. They put a meaning to it, and that's why our English is superficial. It's a fantasy because they get to make it up because they added vowels to it. It was never real. So that's what it means when we're reading this about the abjabs. I want you to understand what I'm trying to say. It says impure abjabs have characters for some vowels. All right, so this is the only thing that make it impure. It has vowels. Optional vowel dialects or both. The term pure abjabs refer to scripts entirely lacking in vowel indicators. However, most modern abjabs such as Arabic, Hebrew, Aramaic, and Pahlavi are impure abjabs. So Arabic is an impure language, Hebrew is an impure language, and all of the language, Sanskrit, is all impure languages. That is, they also contain symbols for some of the vowel phenoms. Although the said non-dielectric vowel letter are also used to write certain consonants, particularly approximate the sound similar to long vowels. A pure abjad is exemplified perhaps by the very early forms of ancient Phoenician, though as at some point, um, at least by the ninth century BC, and most of the contemporary Semitic abjads had begun to overload a few of the consonant symbols with a secondly function as vowel makers called martes lexiconis. This practice was at first rare and limited in scope, but became increasingly common and more developed in later time. So this is where we start getting our fake languages come from, where they take the words and give them a new meaning, and we lost the true meaning of what we have that disconnect us from the East because of these abjabs. You understand what I'm saying? Additional vowels. I'm gonna just leave this one on this note. In the ninth century BC, the Greeks adapted the Phoenician script for use in their own language. You see what I'm saying? The Greeks didn't make up their language. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They adapted it from somebody, and everybody adapted it from the Phoenicians. Who's the Phoenicians? These Anglo-Saxons that was hustling all around the world, hustled up those letters, and then been selling it to everybody in the world. The Phoenician structure of the Greek language created too many ambiguous when vowels went unrepresented, so the script was modified. They did not need letters for the glutal sound representation by Alf, Cap, Nep. You see, they didn't have nothing to represent them. That's like having um, cash and no gold to back it up. It's the same thing. They've been running this hustle on us for the longest. So they gave new meaning without having symbols. So we don't have it in our subconscious. It's pseudo. We make it up. This is high metaphysics I'm trying to put you onto. So these symbols was assigned vocal values. The letters wa and yod were also adapted into vowel signs. Along with he, these were already used as matrices lexiconus in Phoenician. The major innovation of Greek was to dedicate these symbols exclusively and ambiguously to vowel sounds that could be combined arbitrarily with consonants, as opposed to symbolic syllables such as linear B, which usually have vowels symbolic but cannot combine them with consonants to form arbitrary syllables. Our whole language is an arbitrary symbol. So I just wanted you to understand abjabs on what its Semitic value is. Just for the record, this last part, the abjabs form of writing is well adapted to the morphological structure of the Semitic languages. It was developed to write. This is because of the word Semitic languages are formed from a root consisting of usually three consonants, the vowel being used to indicate inflectional or derived form. For instance, according to classical Arabic, modern standard Arabic, from the Arabic root to slaughter can be derived from the form of, well, I ain't going that far. We get the picture, right? Cool. So, you know, Semitic now, you understand abjabs a little bit. You know, I'm going to leave you on that note because we could keep going. Um, I'm going to leave you with this one right here on this note. You see this picture right here? Look at this picture good. Let me tell you what you could do that we don't know we could do, right? Let me read it. It says, try it now, then see if you can breathe and at the same time contract your chest and stomach into yourself. When you become good at this type of reverse breathing, I want you to try and master the more advanced method, which requires that you not only contract your chest and stomach, but that you also push down with your solar plexus while at the same time pushing up with your perineum. This strong contraction sucks up energy and directs this energy into the centers of your body, which is called the calderon. It's things we could do that we don't know we could do. Your energy level, the happier and more confident that you will feel. The technique that are about to cover are the same ones. Well, this is called reverse breathing, you know, what I was just showing you. There is a thing called reverse breathing. Reverse breathing refers to a unique kind of breathing that is performed during powerful energy work. It is a very powerful method of drawing energy into yourself. It is called reverse breathing because you are essentially doing physically the reverse of what you normally do when you breathe. So all these exist, you know. I just wanted you to understand that. Now I'm gonna show you the Everstrom. You see this word right here, the Everstrom? You know, this is your thought body. You know, when I showed you the I Am Legend, and I told you those are thought forms. Well, this is the Everstrom. It's an old word that they took out of existence right now, but it has a very deep meaning that you need to know because it has something to do with you. It says that's the thought body of man. So you have a thought body too, a body when you're in thought. His consciousness, his consciousness, ethereal counterpart that may watch over him and warn him of death when it approaches or some other danger. The more the physical body is active and conscious of external things, the more is the thought body superfied. The sleep of the body is the awakening of the Everstrom. During this state, it may communicate with other Everstroms or other persons who's of the dead. It may go to certain distance from the physical body for a short time, but if your connection with the body is broken, the latter will die too. So you see, you got a lot of things going on inside of you that you don't know, and they know, the government know, and it's time for you to master yourself so you can learn yourself. So you know, we're gonna have more of these talks and keep it going, but it's time for me. So what time is it? 12 o'clock. I really appreciate y'all coming and telling. Thank you. You know, it's time to call it. All right, University of Conscious Science on love.